Today's lecture is going to continue talking about beef cattle reproduction. The age of puberty is a major determinant of a lifetime reproductive efficiency of cows. It is attained when a heifer will stand to be mounted and she ovulates for the first time. It can occur at any point, sometimes around 6 to 8 months of age. Occasionally, those early ovulations can cause some pregnancies if they're not removed or separated from late weaned bull calves. Usually heifers that show early estrus cycles discontinue these cycles until they approach 12 to 13 months of age. Research has also shown that the first estrus is not accompanied by an ovulation in nearly 25% of the heifers. Puberty is influenced primarily by the age, the weight of the heifer, in addition to the breed and biological types, such as early maturing cow, late maturing cow, or other factors. Weight might be the most important factor than age, so heifers should reach an adequate weight by 13 or 14 months of age if they're expected to calve at 2 years of age. The target breeding weight for a heifer should be 60 to 65 on average of its mature cow weight in the herd. For example, if a cow weighs is expected to weigh about 1,150 pounds at a body condition score of 5 in the mature weight, the desired heifer weight will be approximately 700 to 750 pounds. Now, this 60 to 65% is variable. Depending on if you're selecting for replacement heifers, then you should wait to the 65%. If you have lots of cattle and your replacement heifers, you have a lot of numbers to select from, then you can probably breed them a little early, such as 50 to 55. Puberty in bulls is a little different. It is reached when viable sperm is first produced. This can occur at 12 months of age, although it can vary several months before or after, depending on biological types, such as primary frame size, the potential mature weight, nutrition status, the health status of that animal. You can do a semen collection to verify puberty. However, scrotal circumference is a good predictor of puberty. Most bulls reach puberty at around a 26 centimeter scrotal circumference. However, this doesn't mean that a bull is a good breeder or is a satisfactory breeder. So, as mentioned, a good breeding soundness exam could determine if it's ready to be exposed to cattle. How do we get an animal pregnant? In this case, a cow. Well, beef cattle in the United States are bred by natural service approximately 95% of the time as compared to dairy. To eliminate reproductive losses due to poor fertility, a bull should be tested for breeding soundness 60 days prior to the breeding season. Reproductive efficiency could improve if more producers regularly evaluate the breeding soundness of their bulls. Larger herds are likely to test for semen. They're likely to test their bulls for trichomoniasis to improve reproductive rates. Approximately 30% of all tested bulls are classified as questionable, and so a good 60 days prior to the breeding is a good idea to help you decide if you need another bull or other options. This is a comparison of testicle size of yearling bulls and its relationship to the age of puberty in heifers. You can pause that and take a look. Otherwise, we're going to continue with cow to bull ratios. Many cow-calf producers could reduce production costs by just increasing the number of cows that are exposed to the same bull. An individual bull can successfully impregnate about 50 to 60 cows in a 60-day breeding season if management is superior. Environmental conditions can directly impact upwards or downwards the adjustment of the 30-to-1 ratio. Or if you have multiple bulls, the dominance of an individual bull can cause problems, right? The rule of thumb is 1 cow per centimeter of testicle circumference. So a 32 centimeter bull should service 30 cows, potentially a little bit more. Natural conception, right? When we consider the potential of our cows getting pregnant in a pasture mating system, there are 3 factors that we have to consider. Those are the percentage of cows in heat, the percentage of heats that are fertile, the percentage of the cows that are serviced by the bull. So eventually 100% of them should get pregnant during the breeding season. But Failures of some of these three issues can cause problems. For example, if 90% of the herd is in heat in a regular 21-day estrus cycle, 90% of this heat are fertile, and 90% of the cows are serviced by the bull when the herd is in heat. So the total conception rate is not 90%, but it's rather 73%, because the bull won't be able to service all, and not all of those heats are going to be fertile. It has been well demonstrated that a bull can settle relatively large number of cows in a 5-day period. However, we have to consider the variation among bulls. Bull can be utilized in a synchronized program and keep the calf crop percentage pretty high. In a situation like this, where we're using a synchronization program, one bull should be used to a small group of cows, about 15 to 30 cows, in a relatively small area, such as a dry lot, to allow the bull to service all those cows. If given enough rest to the bull can be utilized between pen to pen. It's recommended to do about 10 days rest period in between each cycle. Another method of getting those cows pregnant is by artificial insemination. This process was first accomplished in cattle in the early 1900s, and it's a process where semen is deposited in the female reproductive tract by artificial techniques rather than by natural matings. A successful AI program is a result of combination of things, such as the semen quality, female fertility, the accuracy of the heat detections, and the skill of the person performing the artificial insemination. There's multiple advantages to AI, and one of those is probably the utilization of outstanding bulls to optimize genetic improvements in our herds. So the differences between AI and natural should be based on costs and returns to be able to determine if investing more money on one program or the other is more beneficial to me. A bull using a naturally serviced typically can sire between 10 and 50 calves per year over a reproductive lifetime of 3 to 8 years. When in an AI program, a bull can produce about 400 units of semen per ejaculate, with 4 ejaculates typically collected per week. What are some of those benefits? Well, semen can be frozen, stored for later use, meaning that we can have calves of this sire after the sire is dead, right? We can sire hundreds of calves from the same sire. We can use it to control reproductive diseases and to be able to use bulls that have been previously injured. So take a minute, pause the video, take a look at this table, and these are averages of the cost of utilizing natural service as compared to utilizing a sync program and doing some AI, right? And some of the returns. Now moving forward on how we do artificial insemination, well, it's pretty basic, at the same time it's a little complicated. With one arm, you approach rectally, you get a good grasp of the cervix. With the other hand, you utilize your inseminating pipette, put it in vaginally, and move your cervix with the other hand, right? Move the cervix to introduce that pipette through the cervix. Once you're past it, if you look in this picture, it's about an inch past the cervix, you will deposit the semen pretty slowly. It is recommended to count to 10 as you're depositing the semen, so you don't just forcibly deposit it and then slowly remove the pipette and take your hand from the rectum area. How do we determine when the cow is ready to be bred? Well, there's multiple things we can utilize. The most common is visual clues, right? Is she standing to be mounted? Is she vocalizing? Is she restless? If she's sniffing other cattle, right? Those are some things. We can also utilize things such as patches, right? The patches that we have up here. If you look at the picture on the top right, if you look at the don't breed, basically they're still silver. There's no red showing, very little red, as compared to the ones on the far right, where there's some discoloration, in this case, maybe coloration of red, telling you that the cow is ready to be bred. The time of insemination should occur 6 to 8 hours prior to ovulation, because sperm requires 2 to 6 hours in the female tract before they are fully capable of fertilization. Cows found in estrus in the morning are usually inseminated that evening, and cows in heat in the evening are usually inseminated the following morning, because ovulation occurs 24 to 30 hours after the onset of heat. Insemination should occur near the end of the estrus. So take a look at this table on the bottom. And superior estrus detection is critical in the absence of the use of exogenous synchronizations. So basically, take a look at this, figure out where the optimal time is. In this case, will be right around the 18 to 12 hours of the cow shown heat. It's a good way to determine that.